Hi guys, Jack here from All Blood and Sweat. Right, another podcast, another week, another podcast. I'm trying to be more consistent with these, get them out more. Trying to arrange my sort of week a little bit better so that I can post them at the same time, be a little bit more professional with it and stuff. So if you appreciate it, give it a like, share it around, get it growing. It just helps me so much, gives me more time to do it as well, to be honest. So would really appreciate it. Thank you. Still a little bit run down. Must just be life in the UK at the moment, do you know what I mean? And didn't sleep many hours last night, which is why I look like this. Right, first thing I wanted to get started on was a brand that I love so much, actually. Like sometimes I think I've worn the t-shirt on the pod a couple times, or on my channel at least, is Norton. And they've just released a new sports bike. And I like, first thing you want to do is be like, yeah, amazing. But like, for a brand that has so much history, I'm just, I'm really happy that they're doing stuff like this, and each limited to just 150 individually numbered units. So they're going to be expensive. They're going to be like, in the realm of like those rare MV Augustas that like I did a video on when I was in Venice like a year ago. Join the wait list. I don't even know if there's a price on it. But one thing I want to look at is the design, because like talking about it from a designer's perspective, let's rotate it going right to left, because it just makes my brain more happy. That's how we always present stuff and sketch stuff. I think it looks kind of it sounds like, again, Norton as a brand, I love it, but the design looks a bit frumpy. It looks a bit frumpy and awkward. I'm going to try and not rock my desk so much. It just looks it doesn't scream super limited edition, I mean, it will, regardless of the price, it probably will be quite successful because of the fact it is limited edition and because the brand is so strong at the moment. Like the brand is very strong, but I feel like it's a little bit confused. Like it looks like kind of a normal street bike tank with like a super bike fairing, but it doesn't look as light as like a Ducati or, you know, something else with a super bike fairing. And then you've got these like really strong producty rear end that doesn't really match with other parts of it. Cool details, like really well, it looks well engineered and well designed in the detail level, if that makes sense. Like shut lines, part lines, like this is all joined up, it's not floating and stuff, like that's impressive. Nice shut line going to the corner of the light, that's all cool, appreciate it. But then like got this really like frumpy unit on the back that goes into the light. Like if you want to be this bold going through the bike, it's almost like you want them to make to just, if you're going to try and be bold, like Nortons of their past and their history is not really like singing through in this design. And then other brands that are doing these like expensive rare things, like you've got the Aston or the Fast+, Superior, or the MV Augusta or some Ducatis and stuff. Like it's just lacking that kind of level of refinement a little bit. And it makes me wonder if someone did originally sketch this straight inside view and it was a little bit more, because down here it's all really controlled, straight line, little blister for, I don't know what that is, like part of the exhaust, something hot, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know bike engineering that well. But yeah, straight, pretty straight. And then the higher up the bike you get, it's like the lines and the language starts to melt, if that makes sense. So like, then you come up here and it's kind of like you've got this line which maybe it was straight at one point, but then when you rotate in 3D and you start modeling it, and you get all these movements and you need to like pump and control these lines around the plan shape and stuff, then maybe they start wobbling all over the place. And it just doesn't scream like very well executed. I mean, so I haven't actually, so like some of the nicest bikes at the moment, actually, let's go on Lemonouche and search for Husqvarna on here. So like, yeah, just look at like how well designed the Husqvarna is, and it's hard to replicate this because it's such a precise language now that like if you tried to replicate this, people would be like, oh, you're trying to look like Husqvarna, which I think this was designed by Kiska, because I think Kiska are investors in Husqvarna. But I mean, like, yeah, the sketches, the execution, and when you see them on the road, you're like, oh wow, they still look like they're from a movie in a way, to be honest. like what are these, the 401 or whatever. They just look so cool. And like, yeah, as a language, it's like so strong. It's like strong facet, really bold, really well executed. And that's kind of thing where like, I think Norton need to find something that gives off this same impression to the point where you're like, oh wow, that's cool, without being a little bit, oh, that's awkward. Like there's also that, wait, where did that go? Here. There's also that huge design bike. It sounds silly, but again, Husqvarna, cool details, got the the line going all the way through, which comes from the sketches and stuff. I'm gonna see if I can find on Le Manouche that, yeah, a lot of Kiska adverts, because it's all designed by Kiska. So there is, I'm pretty sure it would have made it on here. There is also this bike, yeah, done by like Huge Design in San Fran. Like this looks like a bike that's limited to like 150 units, super specialized. I actually don't know how many units of this they're making. Let's have a look. Huge Design San Fran bike, see what comes up. Evo utility bike, is it this one? No. Huge Moto, this one. Do not consent, I hate stuff like this. Electric Dream Team. Oh, I mean, it's shit if it's electric. But anyway, look at the design of that bike. Absolutely insane. Like, such a cool design, so modern. Looks like something out of, almost like something out of Star Wars if you just took the bodywork alone and then put some sort of sci-fi powertrain underneath it and maybe make the handles and stuff a little bit more sci-fi. But yeah, just like that versus this, I mean, it looks kind of a bit frumpy and almost 80s. I see what they're trying to do at the back, but it's just not really selling it for me. It's my opinion. It's the beauty of having my own sort of pod, is that it's my opinion, and that's all. I mean, if you disagree, write something in the comments, make your own video. Disagree with me, that's the beauty of the internet, you know? 2025 resurgence. I mean, I appreciate what they're trying to do. I just don't think it's super well executed, to be honest, in my opinion. Anyway, so yeah, that one is a little bit more what I think they should have done. I also think BMW is doing really good stuff with bikes at the moment. BMW is doing some, like actually BMW's electric bikes are like the only bikes where I'm like, oh, I could actually imagine running an electric bike around the city on it. Where is it? One of these like little, show me the BMW electric bike, 1 second. It's like the C04 or something. There's more details of this bike. Oh, look at that, that's so cool. Again, whacked like if Norton just did something like this. And then obviously you've got Auto Fabrica, which if you're in the design industry, you probably have heard of Auto Fabrica. They make really cool stuff. And they're basically just like reskin and over bikes, I think. I need to actually have a chat with them. It'd be quite cool to go and film their facility actually. And then so you look at this like MV Augusta Super Veloce, and it just looks a little bit more unique, a little bit more well balanced. I don't like the exhaust on it. The exhaust on the Norton is better. Where's this Beamer? I want to show you this Beamer. I might have to just search for it separately, to be honest. See what comes up. Here we go, yeah, CEO4. Look at that. Cookies, reject. Yeah, you see these going around, and they look kind of frumpy in the photos, but in real life, it looks like something like a sci-fi messenger bike, which is really cool. Because it is kind of like a little bit more like delivery vehicle-esque, last mile, around like what you expect like a delivery rider to be on. It's like a scooter, but cooler looking in my opinion. Because some of the scooters these days, look at that like bench seat, really cool, really sci-fi. You could easily put that in a, like if you took off some of the legal stuff and maybe hid some of the current engineering, you could easily imagine that in like a Star Wars movie, in my opinion, even though it doesn't float. Anyway, right, slightly different. So Ireland actually trialed this thing called, if you know what universal basic income is, it's like the idea that as we move into a world where we've basically got a lot more AI and automation and robots making stuff, less need for people doing work, we have like a real issue where then there's a lot of people out of work, and the world is not getting any cheaper to live in. So there's this idea of universal basic income, which is essentially you get, I mean, it sounds quite socialist in a way, like you get a sort of amount of money from the government each week or each month that allows you to pursue, in this case, artistic pursuits, which is tough if you want to be a creative. Sometimes, like on the way up, you know, like in acting or even design, it can be hard to put so much time into that to try and get a career out of it that actually you feel the pressure just to get like a regular job, or you have to work doing something more regular in order to be able to afford to do what you really love to do, i.e. like the creative work. So in Ireland, they basically they trialed for 3 years a UBI, basic income for artists. So, and now they're going to make it permanent starting next year. So selected artists receive a weekly payment of about $375 or about $1,500 a month, which is like pays for most people's rent and basic needs. There are 2,000 spots available with applications set to open in September 26. So, I mean, I think it's great in a way, because like it encourages people with a creative mind that want to like move away from you know, like reliance on AI and reliance on, or just not even reliance, but just the fact that AI and automation and stuff like that is taking over to like a crazy level. It allows people to go, oh, this is something I want to invest my time in and create something. Like I know a lot of people, even from my industry, that like they leave to go and do their own business in XYZ, you know, like they want to make something for the coffee industry or for clothing or something like that, and then but quite often they have to do it alongside their job, because whilst they have a job, because it's, you know, you need money to live, and it means that it can take years or never happen for a lot of these ideas. So the idea of this like UBI, I think is quite cool, and it's interesting to see that it's working to the level where they are bringing it on. I mean, it's interesting because like you still need to see like a return on that as an investment in a way, which is sad, because like a lot of design is, or a lot of creative pursuits are, you almost like manage loss to a level where, and you speculate to the point where maybe it makes money, and also it's hard to track if it makes money. So if you work in like a design department of a car company, for example, you never really ever like directly see that I've worked this amount of hours drawing this thing, designing this thing, 3D modeling, physical modeling for years, and then this is the outcome, and this is how much money it brought into the company. You know, it's not that as black and white as that. So it's like a very gray area of like, we put so many hours into designing a product, years into designing a product, and then it goes into production, and then you wait years for the return. And also that production investment can be, you know, billions in some case. So it's really hard. It takes maybe 5 to 10 years, even longer, for certain products to actually make a profit on like vehicles. And like a lot of car companies, they almost operate at like a treading water level of like, you invest and you make money from what you invested in 10 years before, and you keep treading that water until there's like Dieselgate or a massive crash, and then a lot of people then, or some car companies then struggle really badly. And that's kind of like what we see these days and in the current industry, like this year, for many reasons, but that's part of it as well. And when people's purchasing decisions change, like the whole situation with like combustion versus electric and stuff at the moment, like when people change their mind what the customers wants to buy, and then also with the general economy what they can buy, the car companies or whatever can't react quick enough to that. They can't go like week to week like react to it. It takes years. Most car companies are like massive cruise liners, and when it comes to like, you want to change direction, you know, it's like the Titanic. Sometimes it's it's too late. You're like down a path and you can see what's ahead, but you don't have time to adjust. So it's really interesting for me. That was a very roundabout way of saying, like, with this kind of permanent scaled up program, and all the artists produce work, while lowering the average cost of art to consumers by 9 to 25%. It's like, okay, but does the money that they make from their art go to them, or does it go to does the government get a cut essentially to like pay for this for other artists? Or how, like, that's an interesting thing of like, how is that structured in a way? Because like, I can't really imagine or see how you could structure that, apart from like, if it's like Dragon's Den, where it's like, I put in this amount of money, therefore I get this percentage back, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, we need no further pilots. People need UBI now to face and deal with the many social, economic and ecological crises in our world, Reynard Huss, organizer of UBI Lab Leeds, told Business Insider in June. I mean, it would be great. Like, I know a lot of guys that like want to do acting, want to do, they want to make their own digital content or physical products, start clothing brands, make a cup or a table or some furniture or something. And it's like, it's really hard to invest in materials or machinery, all that kind of stuff. So 3D printers, you name it. So the idea of this, I think, is positive, especially for artists. It just is interesting to see how it could scale up. You know, socialism always works in theory or in small doses, but when you scale it up, it can fall apart in areas for obvious reasons. Anyway, talking about the future, who remembers this? The Audi RSQ. I don't know why. I think I was on Instagram the other day, and someone just posted like a picture of the iRobot RSQ and the bike that Slappy McSlap, what's his name, Will Smith used in the movie. And yeah, this, I think 2004, so it kind of like predates the R8 in a way. So it's like, I just wanted to like bring it to light because I'm obsessed with movie vehicles. Like, it's still something I would love to do one day, is like design vehicles for movies. And I just think it's like so well done, the RSQ. It's still wild to this day. I mean, you can see, imagine like, so you're moving from sort of Mark 1 TT into like Mark 2 TT era, Mark 2, and so you're going from like the J. Mays, Peter Schreier into Walter de Silva sort of era of Audi. So you can see it's like, as a brand exercise, they've definitely like taken the next leap on, gone for this like eagle eye approach and that sort of level of design. But yeah, I mean, this was done 21 years ago, probably longer in terms of the sketches. And I think it's still so successful. I mean, yeah, are there things that show its age? For sure. But like, when you look at stuff like the new TT coming out, you kind of like, you do feel like this is kind of like Audi's heyday in a way, and it's kind of going back to that sort of element. It does look very owly or animal-like with its lights, and then obviously it shows its age with like the dot LEDs and stuff. But hey, 3 versions of the car were built by Audi for the film's production, one of which could move around under its own power. Oh no, what was the power? Wait, what was under the bonnet? In the movie, the RSQ concept has the reassuring thrum of an electric motor underneath the rear engine cover of the car. Perhaps it uses a banana skin powered nuclear range extender like the DeLorean of Back to the Future. In our drab 2004 reality, the RSQ was powered by a wheezy sounding 4-cylinder engine and had actual wheels hidden underneath the fake spheres of the future. Hollywood is all smoke and mirrors. It's so disappointing. Who wrote this? What sort of like buzzy Gen Zer was like, oh, they used combustion. It's like, dude, I can't wait till a lot of people realize how dirty electric cars are. Anyway, I'm a little bit curmudgeon-y today. I slept like 3 hours last night. Yeah, one was designed for static use or could be dragged around, and then the final version of the car that was optimized for interior shots, enabling giant cameras to get inside for a good look. Why won't the RSQ go into production? Well, all right, idiot. Anyway, so yeah, but one thing I wanted to highlight as well is like, look at how sketching has changed. I mean, like, if you saw this in someone's portfolio today, I mean, you saw the sketch from 2002, it's 23 years old, so I won't hate on it too much because Photoshop was in very different stages to what it is now. Just the whole level of the game has changed so much. But if you saw this in someone's photo now, I don't think you'd hire them. But I mean, it gets the point across. Not really seeing a lot of the spherical wheels and stuff, but yeah, kind of does it. Yeah. Let's have a look at the interior. They don't really show the interior a lot, to be honest with you. There we go. Oh, thanks, no car show. Yeah, not really showing a lot. I think the Mark 1 TT has a better, more futuristic interior than that. Talking of, this should have happened. I'm like so gutted that this never actually happened beyond this. So I mean, like, Ferdinand Piëch, I think Top Gear Grand Tour did a thing about Ferdinand Piëch. But yeah, he was like a legend in terms of, it's like what happens when engineers lead car companies. We've got a real problem at the moment where like the marketing departments are the ones that end up leading the car companies. Back then was when engineers led car companies, and so like, and it made VW Group, the whole group, so successful to the point where they could buy up all these other brands, you know, like Lamborghini, Bugatti, like Porsche, like all that kind of stuff. And to the point where, yeah, like Piëch, the VR6 engine, then you've got the Veyron, then you've got like all sorts of stuff. You got the things they did with Bentley with the W12s and the Continental GT. And anyway, he commissioned them to make this like super mental Mark 1 TT before the era of the R8. So before the R8 was coming out, this was a TT Coupe RS4. So it literally has a shortened Audi RS4 platform underneath it with a longitudinal V6, twin turbo V6. How cool is that? How like mental must that be as well? Man, I love this like canary yellow as well. It's so cool. So they shortened the RS4 chassis by 170 mil ahead of the fuel tank to match TT's wheelbase, preserve its proportions. Good. Beneath the hood, RS4's twin turbo 2.7 litre V6 engine, making this the only prototype the only TT to ever use a true V6, considering the first two generations relied on VR6s. Side note, the VW Group didn't stop making the VR6 until late 2024. Yeah, so what's this? 375 horsepower, 325 foot-pounds of torque. Just would have been an absolute beast. Unbelievably fun to drive, and said it was outperforming the 911 of the time. They probably did it because that Porsche, you know, that I spoke about it on my TT video, like how originally they wanted to do like a Boxster Cayman TT platform share, which is essentially what they're doing now actually. So it's kind of interesting to see that maybe because that fell through, they were like, right, let's make a TT that's faster than a 911. You can imagine them doing that. It might have even predated like the proper Porsche kind of VW Group sharing stuff. Not sure what year that actually came into be. Yeah, the Volkswagen Group ultimately achieved its goal of building a supercar above the TT through the R8. Twinned with the Gallardo, both the TT and R8 have since been discontinued, but Audi plans to return to the sports car segment with a production version of the Concept C in 2027. This time entirely electric. Yeah. Man, Gallardo, that's one for another day. I still love Gallardos. Like, I would love a weekend Gallardo in another, I don't know, not right now, obviously. That, it does bring me on to something though. Yeah, I want to look at this. Talking about so I saw this week. This is the spy shots of the electric Cayman. So obviously they've taken a lot of Taycan design language, which is cool. We can only appreciate. I don't know why they do these, like they stick these stickers over the lights like it's gonna fool us. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I wonder what shape the lights are. doesn't, I don't know why they bother, to be honest with you. And also they do, I mean, so it is more effective when they do it with the window shape with the chrome. They've tried to make it look like it could be a 911. It's obviously Cayman. So look, you've got like the Cayman window here, although it does look like you've got less rear haunch. So the, God, I hate it, gosh. The 718 that we've got outside, not a GTS, but you do get a lot more rear haunch. I'm trying to find like the same view. It's tough, but like you can see there, you've clearly got more rear haunch and like a slightly shorter cabin. This one looks like that's further back. I mean, that's a detail. It's just me being like super nerdy. Let's try and get further. Yeah, look at that. It looks like they've tried to almost go a little bit more 911 in its silhouette, in the sense that they've pushed this much further back. Show me, like it does go all the way to the rear, but it's so much flatter of a window. This is like really nerdy designery, but like look, you've got like the peak here, and then it's a real flat rear window, and then quite a punchy rear haunch. Whereas this one looks like the haunch is less punchy, it's like calmed down, and this is a little bit rounder in this view compared to 718. It does look more 718 there. Maybe it is the wheel arch that's putting me off. Can I have more of a side view, please? Let's just go standard 718. Show. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I mean, it does go to like the spoiler point, and then it's got real punchy. Is it just me, or does it feel a little bit rounder? They've obviously like tried to mask it off and hide the fact that it is a Cayman, like I said with this. God, maybe their fake chrome bar is really putting me off. That one's really pointy, that one's a bit rounder. I mean, this is like Porsche level, you know, how they evolve stuff is really small. And they've obviously tried to hide the fact that there's a big Cayman intake there. It's probably actually, I reckon once they take the camo off, it's not going to be super dissimilar to this. There'll be like a vent here, there'll be a similar, yeah, it'll be really similar. I reckon the light will be bigger than they've made it out here. But yeah, they tried to hide it. Go around a little bit further. I did see one, a guy got caught like near Stuttgart in like a car park, and someone like almost blocked him in to take some videos of him. It's interesting actually, because so these are the cones for the sensors, which shows you where the true bumper is, because that's where the sensors will be mounted. And then they've just cut the cones out of this like camouflage unit. What is that though? Is that a charger port? That might be the charger port. Like a centrally mounted charger port would mean that, I want to see the other side now, because that's normally, in this country, that's where the fuel filler is, but in Germany, maybe it's on the other side because it's on the driver's side all the time. And then, unless they've just gone for like a rear centrally mounted charger port, that'd be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Either that or it's like a sensor. I probably should read Auto Evolution's commentary at the bottom, but I mean, go and watch their video on YouTube. I don't want to get a strike. I'm not just gonna like steal their hard work. I'm just gonna make my own assumptions, you know. Okay, they got. I mean, having the Taycan has a super nice interior, so putting like a Taycan style interior in the Cayman would be cool. Apparently, they will still be doing combustion Caymans with the. I talked about it before with the 911 GTS engine in it. I just want to see if there's a fuel filler there, or if it's you know, like fuel filler come EV point. It makes sense to have it at the back if maybe all the EV powertrain stuff's at the back. Anyway, interesting. Earlier talking about electric bikes, this one I think is so cool. Talk about like modern design bikes. I mean, I do love the Beamer. The Beamer is like I said, more my style. But this, a Japanese self-leveling electric motorcycle with like a very comfy looking backrest. What does it remind you of? With this like fairing at the front. Without the fairing, it would just look like a really relaxed, almost like mobility scooter, but with the fairing, the outlier thing, oh god, I hate it. All images courtesy of Honda, unless stated otherwise. It reminds me of this. I just think it's like the proportion and the feeling of it, like kind of like long, low, like got a chair with a back to it and stuff. If you don't know, this is the very famous Akira bike, which I don't want to annoy anyone, but the movie is not my taste. I don't know. I'm not a massive lover of super crazy anime stuff, but I can appreciate the design of it and the VFX. It's not in VFX really. It's like the way it's drawn and all that kind of stuff is pretty amazing. But yeah, this Honda is like giving me Akira vibes. That to that. Just make it red. Come on, Honda. Stop messing around. Make it red. We all know you want to. I bet someone in the studio has already, you know. Bucket style backrests. Hooded panel at the front. I mean, yeah, actually, when someone sits on it, the scale and proportion of it, it looks so much bigger until someone sits on it. I suppose it's more realistic, but it looks like it could almost be like an e-push bike, but then it looks wide. Like this looks like it's quite a bit of space in it. Obviously a very relaxed seating position because you got the pedals here. It reminds me more of those like American style cruisers. Yeah, pretty cool. Very Akira vibes. Up next, Mazda has a carbon capture exhaust concept that could eliminate car emissions. Basically a CO2 diaper. I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of people that have done this in like student projects and stuff, which is really interesting. It would be interesting to see how this actually works in reality. I mean, like I like this kind of like aspirational projects where they go that we could do this, and then what are you doing with the CO2 tank? That's essentially like a you know, potentially explosive thing you're carrying around. But yeah, mobile carbon capture. How do you empty it? Where does the carbon go? Do you like drive it somewhere and then they fertilize crops with it? Because as we know, like farming and crops loves carbon dioxide. Yeah, just thought that was pretty cool. And also, like, this is the kind of stuff we want to see in this industry because it's shown us that I don't think there is one answer to the environmental issues that people bring up all the time at the moment. I think there has to be multiple answers. There has to be multiple ways of solving these problems we have, you know, like there isn't just like a one plaster we can put on everything and say like, oh, we have to go full EV everything and get all our power from wind turbines, because it's just not realistic. And it does annoy me when there's a lot of these solutions that it's like, this is the be all and end all, will solve the entire industry's problems, because it's not realistic just to have like a single solution. So you have to have multiple solutions and the problem is that we all want cars and we all want to get around, we all like mobility. The world is so small for us these days, and it's like, and we can't all be Taylor Swift private jetting for 15 minutes across California. So the reality is we have to drive long distances for long periods of time. And I think it should be kind of like, if you live in a city, you have a small EV and get get the power from nuclear or something. If you live outside of it or you need longer distances, then you have a combustion hybrid or something like this, and then the CO2 goes into the crops, and it should just be like a system that is like circular, but it doesn't mean we have to just kill off all the combustion. So it's cool to see stuff like this, to be honest. And it also means that we have space for things like this, where you've got I mean, there'll always be a space for supercars and hypercars, right? So I saw this at Goodwood this year. This is the Lezante McLaren. It's based on a McLaren 720, I think. Anyway, the Lezante, I don't really understand who they are and where they've got their money from. But they obviously had a F1 running on my birthday in 1995. Not my actual birthday, I would have been 3. On my 3rd birthday, they won 24 Hours Le Mans, and so they've celebrate that. I mean, it's a good excuse. They've made this car 3-seater. I wonder how many they're doing. It will say somewhere. Anyway, designed by ex-McLaren designer Paul House, who worked on like the P1, etc. Pen the exterior of the P1 and the P1 Spider. And yeah, they're basically like, who's a better person to redesign a McLaren than a McLaren designer? And I think you can see like P1 influence here, but it's almost like he looks like he's been sort of set free in a way, just to go a bit crazy. With, I imagine this is a lot more of an expensive product, and it's obviously 10 years or so on from the P1, but I think it looks really good actually. I'm actually quite impressed with it, because some of the Lezante stuff that you see is a little bit like more money than sense. It's a little bit like, oh, let's just charge someone a few million quid to like do a carbon bodied with gold diffuser Pagani or something, you know, like it's just a bit like kitsch. But I think this is actually quite well done. And I mean, if it is a 720 base, I always say it's a shame to destroy other cars to make cars, like in the rest of my thing, like with the Ring Brothers Aston that's getting press at the moment, which I spoke about in a previous video. It's like, yeah, but you're killing a DBS from the 70s, which is a shame. Like, unless that DBS is like crashed and no one's going to invest the money to repair it. But I think with a brand like that and a product like that, they probably could at some point, even if it's not worth it now, it probably would be worth it in the future. So it is a shame to just like throw 60 to 70% of it away and just put like a carbon chassis under it. It's just because they don't want to go through the road testing and stuff, so it makes it cheaper to keep the VIN number, you know. So it would be a shame if they are like cutting up actual 720s to make this live. But yeah, re-engineered with integrated passenger seating, full carbon, floating air rear wing, 700 brake horsepower per ton. For more information. Okay, so it's like a price on request type thing. But yeah, I think it's quite cool. I think maybe they're marketing it in maybe the wrong color, and maybe they should put the lights on and stuff, but that's just me nitpicking. And also the wheels look quite standard McLaren almost. So if you're going to rebody the whole car, maybe make some wheels that look a lot more different, rather than just slightly different. My opinion, personal opinion. But yeah, this like element on the side is cool. I think it's a well done product. Yeah, new Gymkhana coming out. Travis Pastrana's doing it again. I think he did the last one, which is probably the rightful guy to take it over. I mean, you could have, I feel like maybe you didn't need to call it Gymkhana in a way, because I just feel like that was Ken Block's thing. But Pastrana, if anyone's going to do it, it's good that it's him. But it's like the type of car where like you first get some money on Forza Horizon and you just like start messing around, and you take something that was probably quite functional, like off-road farm vehicle in a way, and then you just slam it, widen the track, do these air brake things that also double up as like letting out heat from the tires while you're drifting, put a obviously like massive deployable spoiler on the back, because that like goes up and down, because I just realized it's like flat for high speed. It's like, yeah, it's low for high speed, and then it's up for down, up. Just wow, it's so like, and obviously they're doing this in Australia, so they love these what do they call them? Utes, I think. Like the Vauxhall, was it the Monaro? Holden Monaro, because it's Australia, that Hammond drove on Top Gear back in the day. So it's kind of feels right to be driving a ute around Australia. And then just, yeah, the spotlight is so unnecessary, but just cool and wild. And it also reminds me actually, yes, like when I was in Germany, I had a Jimny, and I would think occasionally like, oh, how fun would it be if you could slam it, widen the track, put like an LS swap in it or something. I mean, it's completely ridiculous, but I mean, the car itself was underpowered, needed an extra gear. I mean, it's just like a little simple farm vehicle, but it looked so cool. So it's kind of like this kind of vibe of like, oh, what you could do, you know, just, this is obviously like AI from this Rob Zombie dude, but it kind of gives off like little bowler vibes. It looks cool with it, where it looks a lot more Jimny, keeps the Jimny aesthetic there. But I wouldn't be opposed to Hoonigan, Gymkhana guys doing something like this, but I don't know why they seem to be like loving the Subaru vibes at the moment, doing a lot more Scooby stuff. Right. Movie car museum liquidating 50 famous vehicles at no reserve. Like, you know, so Fast and Furious is the movie that got me into cars when I was a kid. Really made me sort of a petrol head, put me on a path to becoming a car designer. And there is a few actual vehicles from this museum going up for auction, and some of the values of them are insane. I don't actually know what movie this one's from, but they're selling it for like, oh, well, the estimate is like 120 grand or something. Anyway, it's just some guy changing a tire. It's not that interesting. Where, I mean, it's a big list. Okay, so here, Gene Winfield's police cruiser from Back to the Future 2, 70 to 100k. Lancer Evo 7. John Wick. It's funny because the whole point of that movie was that he didn't want to sell his car, and then he ended up trashing it, and now you can probably buy it for a price that Alfie Allen would have paid for it. With his dodgy Russian accent. Batmobile stunt show. Batmobiles is not one from the movie, but you could get a proper Batmobile for 100k. So cool. Taxi 2, haven't seen. Generally is a bit whatever. The Ford Crown Vic from Men in Black, I wonder if it has the little red button. Is it that one where he's like never pushed the red button? That's cool. And then obviously Fast and Furious 7 Charger. I feel like there's so many Fast and Furious, there's probably a lot of Chargers around. Yeah, iconic Dom's Charger. There's the Batmobile that they use in the stunt show. Front wheel looks a little small. It's probably because it's actually a bit more realistic. I think that's a Harold Beckler design from the Tim Burton one in the 90s. I actually like think that, yeah, although this is like A1 or the one from Too Fast and Furious, I think it's one of the worst cars from any of the Fast and Furious movies, to be honest. I mean, not that it's I don't mind a Lancer. They're not, I'm more of a Scooby guy when it comes to that Lancer Scooby debate, and I've not driven either of them, just from an external point of view. But I just think the color, the graphics, I mean, it's just the worst on this one. Like, I remember even watching the movie, and like, I grew up with I had the 118 models with the actual neons on the bottom from the early 2000s. And I have Tyrese Gibson's purple convertible Eclipse, and that's awful as well. Like, they're just both so bad compared to like the first movie and then movies afterwards and stuff. Just think they look awful. It's interesting. So Chevy Chevelle Malibu from Drive. I thought Gosling, he said in an interview that he has his car from Drive. Maybe they, obviously it's a movie, they probably have more than one, because you always have more than one for this kind of stuff. This thing is weird. Like, I don't remember that in Back to the Future 2. Also, isn't that set in 2025? Peugeot 406 V6 from Taxi 2. Insane. Okay, yeah, anyway, very cool. I love movie cars. I love the idea of like owning movie cars. I have seen a few of the Fast and Furious cars in Motor World in München. Really cool. Now, there was a stage when I wanted to do like a Instagram of like cars that like you take a normal car and then you make like a Dakar version of it. I'm obsessed with this concept. I don't know why, I don't know where it's come from. I just love the idea of like taking something super, it's almost like the the contrast of having something that is like should be sort of like really fast track day car and then having it off-road. I think I told you before, like when I was on Forza Horizon with my brother a couple of Christmases ago, like I was making the Staccato Lambo before the Staccato Lambo, because I was just like, oh, this is like an absolute machine for doing those kind of like off-road races and stuff. But yeah, look at this. Someone took a GTC4 Lusso, which the FF is like one of my favorite cars ever. The GTC4 Lusso is nice, but for some reason I prefer the FF. I think I do just like slightly heavier vehicles. And at first I was looking at this like, is this actually real or is it AI or like a CAD model or something, you know? And it's not even like raised that much and the wheels are that aggressive, but you can imagine it being like so much more capable. I mean, people that I've seen review the 911 Dakar, they seem to absolutely love it, say it's more usable than most 911s on, especially on UK roads and stuff. And yeah, just like Ferrari, I can't believe Ferrari made this car before it's even Dakar, you know, like I can't believe Ferrari made the FF and the GTC4 Lusso. It's just such a cool product. I love it so much, and it's still one of the most underappreciated of the models, I think, because everyone's like, oh, it's like Ferrari should be like hypercar or proper GT, like 812 style. But I mean, it's more than enough car than most people ever need in their life, and it's just more unique because you've got the little station wagon bread van style rear end on it. I just think it's epic, to be honest with you. Now, one thing I would say is like doing a product like this, sometimes you want to see the interior like a little bit more capable of going off-road, like having like hose down carpets or using like changing the materials to something that is a little bit more outdoor friendly. I mean, it's leather, you can clean leather, you can wash it and stuff, but yeah, it would almost be quite cool if it was like retrimmed in I don't know, I don't want to say like technical materials, because that is something I wanted to talk about as well, actually. It was just like, it's maybe a topic for another day, but the fitness and outdoor performance industry's obsession with plastic based materials that are like just really bad for you and really bad for your like hormones and stuff. So I try and avoid that stuff, but like having something, yeah, I mean, the interior just looks like a standard Ferrari, and in a way and that's fine because you're not getting rid of it, and it's wasteful to retrim it. But from a design perspective, it just would be cool if you made a product like this from the ground up with something that was a little bit more you know, ready for the environment that it's in. And it also makes me question if this like diffuser and underside has been touched, because you wouldn't want to be like actually going across this kind of like Joshua Tree style environment, like rocky desert environment, with a standard like carbon like sort of diffuser on a Ferrari, where, you know, you've seen, was it Clarkson doing some driving around an airfield somewhere on a grand tour, and the carbon just gets chewed away by all the gravel. So you don't want to have the same feeling by doing it on this. You almost want to have like proper skid plates underneath. Yeah, super cool, love it so much. That's like a dream car. If I ever made any money on YouTube or anything, or anywhere in life, it would probably be like, I would just love to do this. There's so many cars. It's so funny as well, because like I said before, you've got the Jimny, which is like the opposite. You take an off-road car and you make it slammed, and then you take a sports car and you raise it up and make it Dakar. I don't know what's wrong with my head. I don't know why I love doing that kind of stuff. And yeah, while we're on sort of, I don't know why I thought this was for the American market, probably because it's some Rob report. Yeah, Virginia-based shop bumped up the shooting brakes, ride height up to 8 inches. Feels like it should be more, but anyway. So one big thing I've noticed in America at the moment is like, you know, they do this I mean, it started off with like the JDM culture. Like they have this 25-year rule where if a car wasn't sold in the country, you have to wait 25 years before you can import it. Otherwise it has to go through like all the US based regulatory stuff, which is like the US. It's so crazy because to get a car to market in the US, you have to have some of the most stringent rules and regulations for crashing and lights and bumpers and stuff. Like just look at the US spec bumpers on like Countach's, for example. It's just wild. But then they don't really do like annual MOTs or tests for road safety like we do in the UK. So like as soon as you've got a car on the market there, you can let it completely fall apart or weld two cars together or have them. You can just go crazy with like some pretty ridiculous stuff on the US market and get away with it. But for new cars, you have to be really strict. Anyway, that's why they never sold TVRs in the US. Now there's a company called TVR Garage that are like basically buying them in the UK, restoring them, exporting them to the US, and then selling them at such a profit. Or I assume it's a profit, but look. So Tuscan Mark 1, $94,000. Tuscan Mark 1, $140,000. $94,000. Okay, Griffith, $40,000. Tuscan Mark 1 Rolex Blue, $155,000 with 10,000 miles on it. Jay Leno featured Cerberus, make us an offer. Cerberus price on application with 84,000 miles on it. On a TVR, I would be worried about that. A lot of them have got like 40,000, 54,000. Anyway, I was thinking like, okay, how much are they on Auto Trader? So let's go, right, let's find something they've actually been selling on there. Okay, Cerberus, 72,000 miles, 14 grand. So there's a 72,000 miles, 14 grand. How much are they selling Cerberus for? Tuscan, Griffith, Tuscan. Okay, Cerberus, but I mean, they're POA. Okay, bad example. Let's find a Tuscan. Was there a Griffith on there? Is that the one at the top? Griffith, 40 grand. Griffith, 15,000. How much does it realistically cost to send a car to the US? I mean, physically shipping it, probably 3-4 grand, maybe more. But I don't know in terms of like import taxes and duties and stuff. Okay, Tuscan, very low mileage, stunning car, 28,000 or fine, 29 grand. How many miles is that? 29,000 miles. Tuscan. Tuscan, 54,000 miles for 95 grand. And I don't even think they're like moving the steering wheel over either. I think they're literally just taking, yeah, look. And the interior looks horrific. Like you've got, maybe I shouldn't post this. This is like, I should just start doing this myself. This is ridiculous. Full respray valued at 17,000. Okay, so they're doing full resprays on the cars that are almost worth the same amount as the car. Where was that Tuscan? 30 grand. What's going on? Am I the only one that's like picking up on this? Tuscan, 21,000. Great color combination. 52,000 miles. 21,000 pounds. Again, Tuscans, 140. 95. There's got to be insane profit in this. Maybe I mean I say that, but they're selling 9 cars, so maybe it's not that. Maybe it's not that crazy. Vehicles here in the USA are titled, registered, and available for customer test drives and handover. So that's my question. What does it take in the USA? Any USA people on here, let me know. What does it? Maybe I could just Google it myself. But if you know, what does it take to title, and register a car beyond shipping it to the US? Because that's wild. And also I guess they have to wait for it to be 25 years old. It's not just the model, it's the piece itself. So that's a Y-Reg Tuscan, so that's 24 years old. So that would need another year before you could send that. This one is a T-Reg 2001, so also 24 years old. Okay, so some of them, like, buy it, put it in a barn, in a year, you can send it to the US. 2004, so you need to wait another few years on that one, but it's 25 grand. How much would it be worth in the US in 4 years, 3-4 years? This is mental. I should be like talking to those car investment guys on Insta about this. Anyway, let's move on. It's been too long on that. Porsche's new W18 engine concept will make its next hypercar truly special. Yes, and yes. Make it a hybrid, whatever, we don't care. But look at that. W18. I mean, is it? Yeah, I suppose it is. What's the biggest W we have at the moment? 12? Each cylinder bank is preferably assigned an exhaust gas turbocharger for a triple turbo power plant. Tri-turbo W18. Jesus, you can make something really fun with that. It also brings me on to this one, which I saw. This company is developing a new air-cooled flat 8 engine. I mean, if any like proper car nuts, engineering guys, engine people out there, the sort of Mark Fernies of the world, Mike Fernie, in fact, engine people, just like the air-cooled engines just sound amazing. They just sound so nice. They sound like, I don't know, like old sewing machines. There's just like something really mechanical about them. I mean, they're not great on fuel, which is the biggest issue why I think a lot of people got rid of the air-cooled stuff. But yeah, if we're to believe recent news, internal combustion engines aren't going anywhere despite all the doom and gloom. Consumers still prefer gasoline-powered cars. Enthusiasts will still have a new one to potentially add to the next project. From Runge Cars, and it's 5.3 litre flat 8. I mean, yeah, you could make something really cool. I want to do like a project with this, basically. Facebook, go away. Okay, fuck that. Yeah, I want to do a project with this. I'm really tempted to just like grab this and whack it into Blender, basically, and just like make a little project car. I mean, they're obviously going very Porsche with their design concept, which you can see here. Yeah, there you go. They've clearly gone very Porsche-esque with their concept, which, fine, it's an air-cooled engine, but you don't have to. Although I do love these round intakes you get on like the back of like 917s and stuff, 917s, whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit, so that rod goes there, that rod goes there. Yeah, it's a bit like, you almost wish they would lay it out symmetrically, even if the cams on the inside weren't symmetrical. You almost wish the engine was laid out a little bit more symmetrically just for the aesthetics of it. But yeah, still super cool. Like to see stuff like that. I think their design could do a bit of work. Their design's like very 70s. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, for the day. I did see this the other day. I think it was up for sale again. One of my favorite concept cars ever, the 04 Shelby Cobra concept. Just such an epic design, sort of J. Mays Ford Special. I had a model of, was it of this? No, I did have a Cobra concept model when I was a kid, but I don't think it was this one. But if anyone knows any good model versions of this, I would love it. Like, I just think it's so cool. I mean, yeah, it looks kind of, the lights can look a little bit awkward, it can look a bit dated in areas and stuff. But the overall design language and like the proportion of it, I just think is really nice. It kind of reminds me of that that Machina concept. Look at the engine as well, just a massive clamshell, big engine in there, probably like a Ford V8 with like a really simplified design concept. In terms of like, it just looks like really clean, it's not too messy. But it was a functioning using car. I'm pretty sure it was in a XXX movie. Wasn't this in the Triple X movie? Cobra concept, Triple X. Yeah, Triple X State of the Union. All right, let's finish with this.
Salary, you were thinking.
I was hoping you would.
Go away. Don't want that advert. Oh yeah, that's the BMW. Right, let's finish with this. Anyway, guys, please share with your friends, like, subscribe, give me some feedback. I will try and be a bit more consistent. Post, same time every week, etc., etc. Come on, Ice Cube. Let's get rid of the music. I want to hear some engine noise there. Oh, okay, I think this is someone's put some other noise over the top of it. But yeah, how cool does this thing look? When did this movie come out as well? It must have been around the same sort of time. Who thought they could replace Vin Diesel with Ice Cube, eh? Doesn't really pull it off. I think he drives it on some train tracks at some point, if my memory serves correct. I think he just like yeah. Oh, you know you're rolling that car in that scenario. Oh yeah, pop the tyres, but it's okay because we all know car rims can run on train tracks because all cars are the same width as trains, and the rims would work. Well, how's he gonna call? Ah, that's ridiculous. Do you know how train wheels work? They're literally like, the only reason they can go in corners like that is because they're like angled in. So like when they turn, they kind of like push against the rail. If you're putting a normal car, yeah, that's what would happen when you're in it, when you try and go around the corner on a normal one. Anyway, from ridiculous 2004 CG and stunt stuff, let's call it a day. Thanks guys, please like, subscribe. I'm out. I'm gonna go chill for the rest of my Sunday. Bye.